question that everyone wants an answer to. What is the secret to extraordinary success? Is it grit? Is it determination? Luck? Or is it who you know? I've been in business now for some 30 years, and I can tell you, all successful entrepreneurs share a few unique qualities. Certain traits that give them the upper hand. But what are they, and can they be learned? I'm on a mission to find out what drives Britain's best entrepreneurs. This is it?
Yeah, this is it. But I don't like something not being as good as it can be.
Would you die for your brand?
I almost did.
And uncover the human side that determines their success or failure.
We're driven by self-doubt.
Maybe it was all that bullying and heartache.
I want them to reveal their individual recipes for success. You definitely are a hippie with a calculator. You are quite manipulative. So I can discover just how they made their millions. If these guys ever sold this business to me, you guys wouldn't know what hit you. Mess with me, I'm going to turn you to stone. Will you take a £100 million cheque for your share now? Success in business isn't a fine science. I've turned tiny startups into multi-million-pound companies. Not all of my ventures have succeeded. Business is tough. But I've always believed there are certain factors that can give us all a fighting chance. I'm on a journey to get inside the minds of two of the country's top business people, and I'm hoping to discover the ways in which the most unlikely characters become multi-millionaires. I'll be spending time with Richard Reed, founder of a smoothie company with a £165 million turnover. And Michelle Mone, the self-made inspiration behind a multi-million-pound lingerie business and who, according to the Rich List, is worth £50 million. Have they both followed the same blueprint to success, or is it their difference that matters most? My journey begins at Fruit Towers in West London, the home of the most successful smoothie company in the UK, and its co-founder, Richard Reed.
Oh, the tie's off today.
Look at that, the tie's off.
No tie.
How are you? Good to see you. You
How's
well?
it going?
Very
Have
good.
you seen the difference to the way that you travel?
Yeah, but I must
We're
admit,
grass-covered vans and you're this thing.
I want to be in the grass-covered van.
Yeah? It's good fun, actually, and it dances. It's got hydraulics, so it bounces around and you can blare out music for those speakers at the front. We take it to festivals, go out sampling with it. And a lot of my people have met their partners through it as well.
Richard is leading a new wave of entrepreneurs who have embraced a business style pioneered in the US by companies like Google. He believes that if his employees feel at home, they'll be extra productive. And despite opting for an open collar, I still felt overdressed. It almost doesn't look like a working environment though. It looks like a London Play Centre sort of style.
Well, it kind of is. The most important thing is, first of all, have a smoothie. Anyway, so this is the sort of the chill out area. It's basically a big communal area for people to come in for informal meetings.
What's that?
Oh, well, we call this thing the smoothie wheel of fortune. So sometimes if we can't make a decision, we'll put all the different options on here and then spin it and let the smoothie wheel of fortune decide for us.
You put your ideas in here?
Yeah.
And whichever one it turns to is the one you choose.
Exactly, that's what you go for.
You make business decisions on a wheel of fortune?
Not for like big decisions, but for when you've got a few different options and a bit of fun.
So it's got sort of like a home feel, like it's your kitchen.
Yeah.
And then you've got people...
More sitting rooms.
You let people wear whatever they want to wear.
Yeah, no, and that's the point. If you want to wear a suit, you're extremely welcome to wear a suit.
But you'd look
we don't tell people...
You'd look a bit like me now, wouldn't you? I feel now as if I've come into a business environment for the first time and I'm completely out of place.
Well, I have to say...
I'd probably come in tomorrow with trunks on
we would
or
never
something.
judge. We would never judge someone on what they wore. That's just... It's not that type of vibe. You've got to wear what you're most comfortable with so you can do your best work. I've literally seen one person sat at his desk in his dressing gown. Now, even that was slightly pushing the limits of what you can wear around the office.
His dressing gown?
His dressing gown. He said he was cold.
Yeah. After reading geography at Cambridge, Richard set up the Fruit Juice Company in 1999 with fellow graduates John Wright and Adam Ballon.
We have a little house phrase, which is if you're 70% sure, then go for it. Don't wait around trying to be 100% confident it's the right decision. I've had the very rare privilege, I think, to have spent the last 12 years doing something that I've found to be incredibly exciting and interesting and mind-expanding and life-enhancing, and doing it with my two closest friends. So who wants to come and make some smoothies?
Today, Richard sells over 2 million bottles of smoothies a week, but they're expanding their range, moving into ready meals and taking on the giants of the orange juice market.
It's about being natural. Natural ingredients, making natural food, but also the idea of being natural, talking naturally, acting naturally. People can come in that work at Instant, be their natural selves at work each day. Kimberly is joining us as our new purchase ledger specialist. She can make the sound of a dolphin. We won't hide behind some sort of weird corporate facade. We'll just be who we are.
It's always good to be exactly who you are, as long as you realise that running a business is about making money. And I wanted to find out if Richard had the money-making gene. When did you actually feel or think to yourself, you know what, I'm an entrepreneur?
I was 16 and I was working in a dog biscuit factory in Huddersfield, and my job paid £2 an hour, and the task I was assigned to get down on my hands and knees and pick up the dog biscuits off the factory floor that had fallen off the conveyor belt. So I went up to the foreman and said, do you have a brush I could borrow? If you had a brush I could borrow, I could do this job better. And he just looked at me dead in the eyes and said, son, you are the brush. And I thought that was the split second I decided, you know what, there's got to be a better way than this. So I left the dog biscuit factory that afternoon, went home and set up a little business called Two Men Went to Mow, which was just mowing lawns in the village where I grew up. And before I knew it, I'm billing myself out at £2.50 an hour and getting so much work that I could actually give jobs to my mates. I billed them out at £2.50 an hour, paid them £2.25 an hour, so made a little bit extra there. If you don't like the situation, then go about changing it rather than complaining about it.
Having the confidence to change what you don't like is an entrepreneurial trait I recognise. But was this Cambridge graduate helped by having a privileged upbringing?
I'm from Huddersfield in the north of England. My dad started as a bus conductor and worked his way up to become like a manager in the local bus company, and my mum was a nurse. My mum and dad decided they wanted to pay me to go for a private education. That was funded by my mum going out and working nights, so she'd work 2 nights a week. My parents made massive sacrifices for us as kids.
What was your school life like?
First year, I came 44th out of 45 in my class in the exams, right? So 1 from the bottom. You know, I think something clicked with me, and I worked harder next year. I remember I came 17th, and I remember going home to sort of say, you know, really please myself, I came 17th. And my mum just said, I think you can do better than that. And I remember thinking, wow.
So you think from that one defining moment, that was the self-belief injection that your mum gave you?
I think it made me recalibrate, yeah. I think it made me think, oh, you know, it felt pretty good. But then it was like, well, actually, you know,
do better.
Yeah, you can do better. You can do better.
And you did.
Yeah.
And almost the rest is history.
Yeah.
To truly uncover why Richard has become so successful, I needed the answers to some uncomfortable business questions. But that would have to wait. First, I've got an appointment with an entrepreneur who is poles apart from Richard Reed. The next stop on my journey is East Kilbride, where I'm meeting Michelle Mone, the tycoon behind one of the country's leading lingerie labels. I wonder what her corporate headquarters might reveal about her particular approach to business.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Very good.
Nice to see you.
Wow, thank you very much for
Welcome.
letting me in.
This is our Scottish headquarters, and we've got Hong Kong and we've got China as well. I wanted it shaped like a breast, so you're now in the breast of the building. And when we go upstairs, you'll see it more.
And you're not winding me up. This is
No, honestly,
real.
It's real, yeah, and it's kind of shaped like a double D. So there you go.
This is the worst.
Yep.
This looks far too staged for me. You can't be all tidy workers.
This is how we run things. And if you look, any cupboards that you want to look in, they will all be organised.
What, even the cupboard?
Yeah, they've all got to be organised, yeah.
I use cupboards in my office to hide things. Is it really like this? For real? It all felt too good to be true. Was this an act just for me?
And then in here is a meeting room, graphics as well.
But as Michelle showed me around, I knew there was one particular member of staff who could help me learn more. The one employee who knows everything about their boss, the PA.
Shall we go and meet Laura? Laura,
Hi there.
come and meet Peter.
What's it like working for Michelle?
Yeah, it's very different from anywhere I've worked before. It's stressful at times, but all in all, good.
And what's the hardest thing working for a busy, successful entrepreneur?
Michelle's like a perfectionist. I mean, you can plan one thing, and within 10 minutes she wants it completely different. She's just like...
So she changes her mind a lot?
Oh, yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
I'm not scared of change. It annoys people around you because they've been working on it for so long. But
I know everything about Michelle, so I have to be one step ahead of her.
And what scares you about Michelle as a boss?
I can tell when Michelle's in not the best of moods. I call it the Care Bear stare because she may look at you in a certain way, but she can look and you're like, oh no.
Do you think you're paid enough?
Yes, I'm looked after.
can you not see that Audi sports car out there?
That's not her.
Yes, that's Laura's.
Perk of the job.
Is that really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You've got to look after your team because they look after you.
Michelle's gel-filled bra became an overnight success in the year 2000 after Julia Roberts wore one in the film Erin Brockovich.
Well, you know, I'm just an East End girl from the East End of Glasgow and always had a dream. Ultimo's now one of the biggest lingerie brands in the country.
After leaving school without qualifications, she has risen to take on the biggest lingerie brands in the world.
What are we doing here? We're capturing the market for people who want an everyday bra.
Michelle is a mum of 3, juggling family life and business commitments from day one.
I do believe that we will become the Victoria's Secrets of the UK.
Michelle knows how to manipulate the press. And she does everything she can to keep her brand and her celebrity persona in the public eye.
I'm very demanding. I'm a perfectionist. Let me tuck your label in as well. No. Yeah. Sorry. It's just not Ultimo. I'm impatient and I always want the best. I think I'm a nightmare.
You expect quite a lot, I think.
Well, I think that's
But
why we are where we are, yeah. In this very, very competitive market.
who was the last person to get sacked?
Um,
Well, when was it? This morning?
no, it was a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of weeks
I
ago.
wouldn't say sacked. No, we just had an agreement.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to find out a little bit more about this lady. Michelle comes across as a demanding leader. At Fruit Towers, the business environment that Richard and his co-founders have encouraged couldn't be more different. Where's your office in this?
I don't have an office. We're completely open plans. No one has offices. I just sit over in the corner.
And this is your area here?
Yeah, so I sit just in this desk here now.
If I'm sitting here,
I can sit
you
and we
say,
have a little chat.
hi Johnny, come and take a seat, have a chat to me.
Well, we have this as well, so you can pull out everyone's filing cabinet. Has something you can sit on. Because again, we just want to keep it as easy as possible for people to be speaking to each other, rather than rely on email and phone calls. We're big fans of going as much face-to-face as possible, so
I don't know whether I'll be able to
communicate.
take you seriously, sitting there swinging in a chair. It's a bit it's a bit strange, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it's...
Do people honestly sit in there and swing?
Huh?
Do they sit in there and swing and talk to you? Richard, they
yeah.
don't. Do they?
I guess I would not judge people on the seat that they sit on. I judge people on
No,
what
I'm
they
just
say
finding it
and
very
what they do
distracting.
and- Right. I totally want to be accessible and have people, if they've got something they just want to ask quickly, we're not sort of putting walls up between each other.
I couldn't stop thinking about dressing down someone for not performing whilst they sat swinging a basket like Little Miss Muffet. But I was trying to keep an open mind about the way Richard runs the organisation. Good afternoon, creative team.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Peter. If you can call it organised. So, what's it like working here? Do you not find it odd working on an AstroTurf and...
No, you get pretty used to it pretty quick, yeah.
Wouldn't you tidy up a bit?
No, this corner especially can't be tidy.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so, because we're working.
It's a good working environment then, to work in chaos and mess.
Yeah, a slight, controlled chaos.
If these guys ever sold this business to me, you guys wouldn't know what hit you.
I think Peter finds it a bit too untidy.
Really, Peter?
I find it a bit edgy, which it doesn't surprise me. So, I'm seeing guys with, that are dressed very differently, with respect. I would never let my staff turn up to work like this, but something's working. Richard's grown from nothing to having a 75% share of the smoothie market.
People work harder here than they will do in 99% of businesses. People put in a huge amount of energy, personal commitment, take it very, very seriously. It's just because we're sort of wearing t-shirts doesn't mean we're not working really hard.
Is he a really hard taskmaster?
On the plus side, he's incredibly inspirational. He's incredibly honest. He'll tell you when something's rubbish and when something's great really quickly, which helps. He's probably gets really excited sometimes and a bit carried away, and might change his mind about stuff.
He's always thinking lots of things in his head, and he walks out of meetings, which I didn't know it was true, but they told me he had a reputation that's it, I'm out, and then he goes out, and you're okay,
brilliant.
Okay. And
you enjoying this?
Can
I just say, I'm so going to come to your office with a camera and go around and ask your guys what they think about you.
This is great, isn't it?
Just so you know.
Beneath what seems like chaos, I was starting to see how Richard inspires his staff to work hard, for him. Up in Glasgow, I had an inkling that Michelle Mone takes a much more traditional and orderly approach.
Okay, so this is my room.
Wow, it's like a hotel room. I have never seen post-it notes so evenly spread and so perfectly placed.
Yep, massive OCD. Yep, I've had it for years, since I was a child. That's exactly how I run my life. I get 4 hours sleep a night. And
so you're like Maggie Thatcher then, 4 hours sleep?
That's what people say, yeah.
So are you the iron lady of bra and knickers?
I do, maybe. My husband says, get that bloody BlackBerry out of this bedroom.
Your husband's your partner in the business, so
yes.
He's been there from the start, he's seen it grow.
Yep, he doesn't like the limelight at all, and people think that it's just all me, but actually, he's the managing director and very talented at what he does as well.
So he's very much involved in the business?
Yeah, very much so.
But whilst her husband keeps a low profile, this tactical publicist is out there mixing it with the rich and famous. But it's not just for fun. Partnering with good-looking celebrities is all part of her PR strategy. So these are all of your girls, are they? Or a selection of?
Yeah, a selection of, not all of them.
I recognise you got Rachel Hunter.
Rachel Hunter, Penny Lancaster, Helena Christensen, Sarah Harding, Mel B, and the list goes on and on and on.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 2003, Michelle hit the publicity jackpot when she dropped Rod Stewart's girlfriend Penny Lancaster and replaced her with Rachel Hunter, his ex-wife. Was it a tactical move to get Penny on board?
Well, I worked with Penny for 2 years, and yes, we became close and everything else, but things just went... things changed. It went on for months and months and months, but, I really did affect me personally.
How much of that was a turning point for your business, in a positive way?
Massive, because it was worldwide press for the brand.
It's the Richard Branson School of PR. Create a multi-million-pound business and use the popular press as free advertising for it. What? Is that wallpaper?
Yeah, it's wallpaper. I thought it would be quite a nice idea to turn one wall into wallpaper. Yeah.
Michelle Mone.
That's it for my OBE.
Michelle Mone.
Yeah.
Any more? Michelle Mone.
With Mel.
With Mel B.
That's New York Fashion Week.
The Mail, Michelle.
Yeah.
What's that one, Michelle?
Apprentice, yeah.
Hello Magazine, Michelle.
I know.
Slim Down, Michelle.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The Michelle wall.
There's a storyboard here.
Yeah.
This one wall tells a story about you.
Mm-hmm. Probably, I mean, when I was really overweight, you know, I put on 6.5 stone when I went through all the hard times building the company, and put my house up to the bank 3 times as security, and I piled on the weight. And now there's a picture up there where I finally lost 6 stone.
Would you die for your brand?
Oh, that's probably, well, I've got kids, but to put it this way, when I tell you the story about how we almost went bust, I almost did, yeah.
Wow.
I would go from here to hell for Ultimo and the rest of our brands as well.
Michelle seems like an uncompromising boss. But to fully understand how she became a force in the lingerie business, I needed to hear how it all began. You thought one day of starting a company?
Yeah, I got made redundant. Went to a dinner dance one night wearing a very uncomfortable cleavage bra and went back to the table drunk and said, I'm going to invent a bra.
Is that how it happened?
That's how it happened, yeah. And 3 years I worked from my bedroom. Got into debt of £240,000. Begged, robbed. Meanwhile, my husband just, you know, kept saying I was nuts. And I went to the launch in London and we had surgeons, well, actors dressed as surgeons. I dressed them all up as plastic surgeons saying ban the Ultimo bra. And I got so much press coverage. And the police came up and said, who's responsible for this? I said, me. And he says, well, move right now or we're going to arrest you. I said, I'll get me more publicity. Arrest me.
So you recognised at that point that your business, for it to be successful, was based around publicity?
I had no money. I had no money for advertising.
So you
I was
had to get it.
competing in a industry where some of the big lingerie brands would spend £2 million launching a product. I had £500 left within 5 hours. Yeah.
But you very much strike me as all or nothing.
Running this business and building this business has probably taken a lot away from my life, but it is my life.
I'm starting to see 2 sides to Michelle now that's starting to come out for me. The one that actually would take care of you and nurture and look after, and the one that says, if you mess with me, I'm going to turn you to stone. And it's that.
Well, yeah.
And it's interesting seeing that psyche, because I'm almost like the silent assassin.
That's not something to be proud of.
No, but in an interesting way, because you're driving your business and taking it really forward. Nothing is going to stop Michelle.
Yeah, it is fair, but for me, there's one thing that if you break with me, you never really get back. And that's trust.
Self-belief is a key trait in all successful entrepreneurs, and Michelle has certainly seen off some challenging times. Back in West London, I wondered if the reason Richard Reed always seems to be smiling is because his route to success had been a much easier ride. Helpfully, he's decorated the stairs with a brief company history.
Business starting to get a little bit bigger, and we started doing our dancing grass vans. This is our recipe book, which we published.
The success Richard found in the early years of his business was based on an unlikely model. It seems like they were more focused on giving money away than actually making it.
This is Fruit Stock, which is a festival that we did in Regent's Park. It was free to go to. We did it as a thank you to all our drinkers. We give 10% of our profits to charity each year, mainly to a thing called the Innocent Foundation, which is in countries in the developing world where the fruit comes from.
But spreading goodwill is only possible when you're making a profit. Right, now we're up to 2008, which is your...
It was definitely the annus horribilis for Innocent.
After 4 years of seamless growth, Richard had to face the harsh realities of running a multi-million-pound business. A new competitor launched, the pound crashed, and fruit prices rocketed, almost spelling the end.
we haven't put our prices up once in 10 years. And secondly, a big competitor launched against us and took a large part of our market share, which meant that we lost a huge amount of money. In fact,
how much did you lose?
Oh, it's in the millions, and it was more. We lost more in that year of 2008 than we made in the entire company's history. So it wiped out any profits that we'd been making.
He had a tough decision to make: drastically downsize the operation or sell a stake in the business. Relief came in the unlikely form of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so these guys invested in early 2009 in a way that's just been, it's been brilliant for the business, because myself, Adam and John have retained full control of the business, and as you can see, we're continuing to do business in a very innocent way.
I'm sure we're going to talk more about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
I was surprised that a business focused on health and charity sought a partnership with one of the biggest corporate names in the fizzy drinks market. But before I challenged him about it, I needed to get a more precise picture of Richard and his business.
So Richard, what's happening in there?
So this is our commercial team. We test the adverts we want to make sure they work, and this is, you test the advert in advance to see how does it score on people. Do they like it? Do they remember it? Do they relate it to Innocent? And so you can judge before you spend all your money on media, which is going to be the ad that people like the most, and that's essentially what those different scores are testing.
So it's quite serious stuff happening in this room then?
Yes, no, absolutely. We do take things seriously.
Fruit Towers is an interesting contradiction. At first, you walk through the doors and think you've entered Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Rich, do you want to cut anything up?
No, I like watching Peter.
But as I was joining in the fun in the juice lab, I was starting to see where the genius of this business lay. Behind the AstroTurf and the lunchtime barbecues, there's a hierarchy that demands the very best from its people.
The front of house is very much, hey guys, come in, have fun. We've got grass, we've got table tennis tables, we've got a lovely environment for you to work in. It was very intriguing walking past that office where I saw clearly some quite serious behind the scenes, real planning going on.
It's not a contradiction, it's all part of the same whole. We want to take the bits seriously that you need to take seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously in the process of it.
One of your staff members earlier said you walk out of meetings, you have a short attention span in terms of, right, look, I need to move on. You're quite random in your decisions and you're quite seemingly changeable.
I like change. I like the future. I like, things to evolve. Am I indecisive? I don't like something not being as good as it can be, and I don't like someone.
So you are a perfectionist then?
I think it's one of my drivers, yeah. And to the extent where I do know it can cause chaos at the last minute by me sort of going, well, how about that? So I have sort of learned over the last couple of years to moderate it a little bit better.
Richard is a clever and unconventional entrepreneur who believes he can make money by focusing on a mission. But surely, without profit, there is no mission.
If you are and speak to lots of entrepreneurs all up and down the country and you say to them, what is your main objective? Well, their main objective would be to generate income and make profit.
See, I don't agree.
And that's not your objective at all?
I don't agree. I think, in my experience, when you look at the world's greatest businesses, they are led primarily by a deeply felt sense of mission.
And money is fairly incidental.
But 2008, we got it wrong, okay? We made a mistake, the market moved against us and we weren't prepared for it. Of course the money is part of it, and I don't want to be disingenuous and imply that it's not. I'm hoping that, I will become wealthy from Innocent, and for that I'll be both appreciative and grateful. I think the world's greatest businesses are led by a sense of mission and purpose. Google, who's set up in the same month, the same year as us, and have grown at the same time to be an $80 billion company, so in some ways you could say they're beating us, they talk about, in one sentence, that they exist to organise the world's information and make it universally available. That's a simple, clear mission, and it explains what their business is all about. And that's what Innocent's led by.
My journey has really just begun. But I was already discovering that an entrepreneur's business is very much a reflection of who they are as people. Michelle Mone is incredibly tenacious, but I wondered where her relentless drive had come from, and if her formula for success could last forever. At first glance, Richard Reed's approach appears counterintuitive, concentrating on the good his brand can achieve rather than the profit. But we've also heard from his childhood just how calculating he can be. Most successful businessmen and women I know can pinpoint exactly where and when their entrepreneurial journey began. To find out where that was for Richard and Michelle, I'm visiting places that lie at opposite ends of the country and of the social spectrum. Michelle is taking me on a tour of our hometown of Gallowgate.
You're getting into the East End of Glasgow, really down-to-earth, hard-working people.
And Richard is showing me round Cambridge, the city where his entrepreneurial journey began. In Glasgow, I was to find the rags to riches cliché for real.
Lots and lots of memories growing up here, and this is where I started my first business when I was 10 years old.
You were 10?
Yeah,
So what was
delivering the papers in the East End. And then when I was 11, I had 17 teenagers working for me.
So you had a bunch of people working for you at 11?
I did, yeah.
The first stop would be Michelle's secondary school, a place she left without any qualifications at the age of 15. This is it?
This is it, yeah.
This was where she was told that a future working down the local supermarket was the best she could expect.
Wow.
What does it feel like to be back here?
Very strange.
Does it?
Yeah. But
What's your best memory here?
my best memory, I don't really have nice memories, to be honest with you. I really struggled at school academically. I was awful, and I think always been told, you know, you're a failure and you'll never do well. And I suppose everyone around me kept saying, Michelle, you can't do this and you can't do that. And I used to say, why? Why do you say you can't? Surely you can. Surely we can find a way. And I used to challenge everyone.
Were you bullied?
Kind of, yeah. I was a bit. Yeah, because I wore my uniform, and
so were
my
you
mum
always
and dad
smart?
were always, no, you wear your uniform. And
what about your teachers? Did they have a little inkling that Michelle Mone was going to become a successful entrepreneur?
I don't think so. I remember when I was 15, I had to go and see my careers teacher. I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. And she said, what does that mean?
It could have been a determination to prove her teachers wrong that drove Michelle in those early days. But I was about to discover even deeper reasons for her desire to be an East End girl done good.
But I always wanted my own room, and my dad cut half of a single bed. He put in the broom cupboard and lowered the ceiling, and I put stickers which were all stars above it, and I loved it so much.
The next stop on our tour was the house Michelle grew up in.
So this is it, yeah.
So which was the actual house? Which one?
Well, first of all, I grew up there, one up.
So first floor?
Just first floor, yeah.
Okay.
And then my dad, when he was my age, got confined to a wheelchair, paralysed from the waist down, a disease, hemangioma, blood vessels in the spinal cord. So he couldn't obviously get up the stairs in a wheelchair, so we moved to 54 Ground Right.
Which is here?
And that was the first time I had my own bedroom. Wow,
this is it, 54?
Yeah, that was my mum and dad's bedroom.
I dare you to ring the bell.
Oh no, I can't do that. Henderson. No, maybe it's Ground 2. What's that? Should we go in?
I promise I've not teed anything up.
Hiya.
Hello. Hi there.
Coming in?
Is that okay?
Yeah, you come.
Oh my goodness. wow, I can't believe this is my old house, and that is the bathroom, isn't it?
That's the bathroom.
That was
your room. That was your room.
That was my room. Oh, this is my own. Do you know, I loved this bedroom. This was my first bedroom.
This is your bedroom?
And I kept it so neat and tidy.
From this tenement, Michelle embarked on a career in publicity that began with occasional work as a model. By the age of 26, she was head of marketing for a national brewery. Her old neighbour, Tricia, still lives next door.
Hello, you.
Oh my goodness.
And has documented her remarkable rise to success.
Great, Michelle.
You got pictures?
I've actually got paper cuttings as well, but I didn't want to bring them out.
Look at that.
A terrible, terrible model. Terrible.
No, you wait.
Michelle, talk to me.
No.
You've kept this quiet.
No,
Talk. Thank you very much.
It proves that anybody that's got a dream, and if they follow it through, they can do it.
That's true.
Michelle was just basically working class, and she done it all proud.
I could see in Michelle's eyes how much this visit to her old house meant. But facing up to her past wasn't going to be easy. Over dinner, I wanted to find out more. What's your earliest bad memory from here?
I would say that there was lots of tough times that I try and blank out. And that was the illness of my dad. That was my mum, going through depression, losing my wee brother. I always used to go to bed crying, I'm not going to have my dad in the morning, and it was just, it was horrible.
And how old were you when your brother died?
I was about 8 years old. Yeah. So I remember all of it.
You do?
Every single bit of it, yeah.
You've come from a hard background. You've spent all of your life trying to get out of. So there's something that makes Michelle special. Do you see yourself as special? Or do you see yourself as lucky?
I grew up with, bad news after bad news, and I didn't want that. I will not accept when people say because you're from the East End you cannot be successful.
In contrast, the hard work of Richard's parents to fund his private education paid off. He became one of the elite few to make it to St John's College, Cambridge.
So we haven't been in here for 20 years.
He shared a room with Adam Ballon and John Wright. Together, they would become the co-founders of the famous smoothie brand. So this is the canteen?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The innocent canteen.
3 meals a day for 3 years here, pretty much.
Yeah. Is that right?
Dinner. And yeah, but this is definitely where it started, because the three of us became friends literally from the first night in college, and we all met in the college bar, and I think we sort of bonded, didn't we, over a sort of a love of, nocturnal. Yeah, exactly.
And what did you do? Because I know you did geography, didn't you? Was that because you couldn't think of anything else to do?
The honest answer is, when I was looking at the different options, the only topic that had less lectures was land economy, which had 7 hours a week, and geography had 8 hours a week, and everything else had more, and so I went for geography.
Okay. So
I did economics.
Oh, wow, okay.
I did manufacturing, so getting stuff made.
It's almost like perfect, isn't it? You've got somebody that economics knows how to run a business. You've got somebody that actually doesn't really care what they did because they just wanted to have fun. And then you've got somebody that actually knows the whole manufacturing process to put it all together. That's interesting, though, isn't it? Because it does fit.
No, I think it was a sort of lucky, fortunate, part of the formula.
What you had here was 3 really close friends that had very different skills, but had a complete shared sort of set of values and vision and things that they wanted to achieve. And that's, I think, that was the starting place for the whole business, where the success has come from.
It's incredibly rare that 3 mates thrown together at university go on to create a multi-million-pound business. To try and work out just how it happened, the boys took me to meet Colin, their residential porter. So they were pranksters then?
They enjoyed their college life. As I say, they kept the porters on the toes all the
Kept you
time.
fit.
But the porters loved them. The time we caught them, they always said, "We're innocent."
That's where you got the name from. We're innocent.
Exactly.
Richard's business story begins here in Cambridge, in a dark and dingy basement. Well, this is it?
Yeah, this is it.
That's an underground garage.
Yeah, exactly.
The enterprising trio transformed this boiler room into the most popular student nightclub for miles around.
We'd be turning people away at the door.
I think people were coming for the free pizza, not the music.
That was our dreadful original strategy, that we offered free pizza at 9 o'clock to try and get people down early. And what happened is a load of rugby boys turned up, ate the free pizza, and then left. And so we were left with an empty nightclub and
full of pizza boxes.
This is where it all started, and had a lot of fun while you did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that doesn't seem to have changed much.
No, it's just one of the best bits of, you're doing it with your two closest mates, so it's just such good fun.
Both Richard and Michelle wanted to create better futures for themselves because of the circumstances that surrounded them. Richard desperately wanted to make his parents proud and repay the sacrifices they had made to give him a world-class education. And Michelle was driven by a desire to do better than those around her.
Oh, how nice is that?
So what is it that links all entrepreneurs? Is there a formula for making millions? If you ask the investors who discovered Michelle and Richard, it wasn't their business plans that impressed them. Maurice Pinto bought 18% of Innocent for £250,000.
I think care less about what the business of the industry is or what the business idea is, and more about the people. I thought they were extremely bright, extremely articulate. Let me say it's the best management team I've ever worked with.
Sir Tom Hunter backed Ultimo with £100,000.
You can look at the business plan, you can look at the numbers, and you've read as many business plans as me, and none of them really do what they ever say they're going to do. You're really only investing in the person. We saw something in Michelle, that determination, that look in her eye, and you then make an investment in the person.
It's reported that both investors made very healthy returns when they sold their shares. In London, Scotland's first billionaire was giving me a further insight into what has pushed Michelle Mone to succeed.
Even though Michelle puts forward this, she can be quite fragile. And the thing people don't understand about most entrepreneurs is that we're driven by self-doubt. A lot of successful people who outwardly you think are so confident, but we're all trying to prove ourselves all the time. Yeah.
For my final encounter, Michelle had invited me to her Mayfair apartment so I could have a glimpse into her private world. It was here I hoped to uncover the characteristics that have brought her success.
Hello.
Hello.
Peter. Welcome
How are
to
you?
Mayfair.
Wow.
Fine. How are you?
But nothing could have prepared me for the obsessive attention to detail that awaited.
Okay, can you come?
Look at that. That's amazing.
Everything has its place. That shouldn't be dirty, is it?
No.
Everything has to be organised. So everything's in order.
5, 20, 50s.
Yeah.
Same hangers.
Yeah.
Every single one the same colour.
Everything has to be the same. And the kids have got KPIs that they don't muck the hangers up and...
You give your kids
I'm not going to tell you anymore.
KPIs, key performance indicators, which are business drivers to measure against for success. You do that with your own kids.
And the people in the house, yeah, I do. If your drawers are not organised, and your cupboards are not organised, and your family are not organised, then your life is a mess.
You have to compartmentalise everything in your life. And you don't change between business and your personal life, which is different. A lot of people,
Really?
yeah, a lot of people are very different in business to they are when they're at home. To be successful, you have to be able to exert control, but Michelle takes it to another level. There must be a reason why she has to organise every detail around her, and the words of Tom Hunter were still ringing in my ears. Is it self-doubt that makes her like this?
Are you proud of yourself?
I think I am now. I think now that I've lost, all the weight and I'm getting fit, I'm getting my life in order. I was punishing myself for 10 years and I just kept eating and eating and eating and eating because I did not feel that I should have money and success. But I feel I'm a lot more content, but I still don't think I've made it yet.
So would you say that you're lonely or in search of something?
I'm not sure.
Maybe you're doing these things to perhaps fill a void or fill something.
I suppose being an entrepreneur is very lonely. You'll know it yourself. Where, you'll take all the worry and everything else on your own shoulders. And
do you feel pressure?
I feel pressure 24/7. Yeah. And I can't imagine life without the pressure, to be honest.
I'm trying to understand the psyche behind an entrepreneur. There's a lot of similarities I see in me and you.
Mm-hmm.
I see that you have to have control. I can see that you are quite manipulative. I can see that you're very forthright and you know where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I can also see a lot of insecurity. When I was last in your offices, you said something to me that hit me quite hard because I've never spoken to another entrepreneur before that's actually said, yeah, I considered committing suicide and I was in a very dark place in my life.
Yeah.
Take me back to that time of how you felt to get to that point.
I just think that I tried my hardest and I suppose I was failing. And
who were you letting down?
I was letting down my family, and it's the fear of going back to how I grew up, of, I suppose, struggling. But I just could not see a way out. I just couldn't.
When you took me back to the East End of Glasgow, there was quite a touching moment when I got to see the neighbours and you got to see your house. But there's a lot about it that almost says, I can't remember a lot of things.
I'm not blanking it all out, but I suppose that, growing up and with my wee brother dying and my father, being confined to a wheelchair at the age of 38, and I just thought, woof. And it started to all come back to me. Oh dear, I said I wouldn't cry. But maybe it was all that just bullying and heartache that's made me fight to get to here. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't apologise, because it's something to be proud of and it gives a lot of people inspiration. And the reality is that an entrepreneur is a make-up of all different things. You've been through a journey, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think that everybody sees that journey as it's easy, it's glamorous. We see Michelle walking down red carpets, we see her on magazines looking beautiful. But the hardness and the hardships of the journey. And I would say that the next few years, in pursuit of happiness and success, I think you're going to achieve it.
Thank you.
I really do.
I hope so.
Uncovering the reason why someone strives for perfection can be an emotional experience. I wondered if my final meeting with Richard would be so highly charged. I'm in the Malvern Hills to examine the relationship between Richard and one of his suppliers, to hopefully uncover the savvy businessman behind the self-proclaimed hippie brand.
There's nothing hippie about him. Nothing.
Hello?
Well, hello.
Although I've never been a fly on the wall at a meeting, he does not suffer fools gladly.
Where's the suit?
What do you think?
Pretty good.
Red and green.
Yeah, is that matching?
We've not planned this. How are you?
Now, can I introduce Ed?
Edward.
It's one of our most treasured farmers.
So this is they're all blackcurrants that we see now? Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. And you've been working together for a while?
We started in 2004. That was our first year that we bought less than a tonne of Ed's blackcurrants, whereas this year we've just bought 210 tonnes.
What I was really interested in was how Richard and Ed made money from each other. It can't be cheap buying homegrown fruit, and I was keen to find out about their margins.
Probably for the first time in history, our price to you per bricks is lower than our price to the concentrate people per bricks. I doubt if that's ever happened before. That's a decision on our part. So the prices have gone up, but we want these guys to be there tomorrow.
So, interesting concept here. Richard and his business is supporting a local farmer.
Mm-hmm.
Local farmer, actually, in reality, is supporting Richard.
Yes.
You've got a very interesting partnership between the two of you.
Yes, correct.
And I think we both share this philosophy that we will do better over the longer term by collaborating. It is a mutually beneficial relationship.
But that's the key. It's not better for Ed. He's financially willing to lower the price of that quality product to you to support your model.
Well, I think we should let Ed say what Ed thinks.
Well, the blackcurrant market is sometimes referred to as being the pig of the soft fruit industry. It is very cyclical. And to always insist on the jackpot in the peak year is not necessarily good business. They can take the product off the shelf tomorrow.
Yeah.
It can price itself off the shelf. We want that product to still be there.
Richard looked uncomfortable discussing profit margins with a prize supplier. But I was relieved to discover that he does focus on a money-making model. After all, without profit, he can't give to charity. The clever thing is, the farmer has bought into Richard's mission, and that's the very reason why he offers such a great deal. Now that's a shrewd way of doing business.
You have naturally found a place where you can really represent your brand by creating and maintaining an image. Everybody's thinking, oh, this guy, why doesn't everybody be like Richard? He starts a business, he's got high ethics, he's helping the local community, and he gives away to charity. But the reality is, you are all of those things, but you're also a very tactical, very shrewd entrepreneur as well.
I take that as a big compliment. There's no money to give to charity if you don't make any money in the first place. So we are absolutely proud to be entrepreneurs and businessmen and capitalists, and we have an altruistic aim in addition to that as well. I tell you, the world would be a very different place if more businesses did, because it's basically saying if we just took 10% and made sure it was allocated to people and to countries that quite frankly need it more than we do, it would redistribute wealth whilst absolutely still protecting the capitalist system that we found to be the best way of working.
You definitely are a hippie with a calculator.
We are not just sixth formers messing around. I think some people assume that because we sometimes wear T-shirts to work, but what you wear does not reflect on how hard you work. It's been a big, tough challenge all of the way. It's been extremely enjoyable and exciting too.
The way Richard does business is admirable, and for that I have to give him and his partners credit. But there was still a burning question I had to ask. With such a strong business ethos, how did they justify selling a majority share of their business to Coca-Cola?
If you'd known me 3 years ago and I'd said, Richard, you got this deal with Coca-Cola, you can meet them 4 times a year, they want you to run the business and they're going to give you 30 million. And I said, Richard, I'm going to give you the same deal, I'll give you 30 million. Which one would you choose, Coca-Cola or Peter Jones?
Well, after having seen you on Dragon's Den, I would definitely choose Coca-Cola. Definitely.
That's outrageous.
Man, you're a tough negotiator, and you definitely wouldn't have extended the terms that Coca-Cola did.
But I kind of liken it to a little bit like I've got a nice, seriously famous health club chain, and Cadbury's invest in my business. Was there any of the three of you that thought, I don't want to do this?
Without that money coming in from Coke, we would have been a business hugely retrenching. We would have had to make half the team redundant. We would have had to cancel our international expansion.
I feel like I'm interviewing like a politician. You're not answering my question.
Oh, what was the question? Did any of
you say no?
No, we were all absolutely.
So you were all
100%, all three of us. It was a very unusual deal that they did, where they would put in money, but absolutely take a back seat, allowing myself, Adam, and John to keep full control of the company. Even the hardened cynics would admit now that we are absolutely more innocent than we've ever been. We've pushed even further into our sustainable agricultural projects. We've continued to fund the charities. It's mainly just asking their advice. You know, they've been in business running one of the world's most popular brands for 125 years. In a very small way, there are things that Coke take from innocent as well. And so I really do think it's been a relationship that's been good for both parties.
Have you got an ultimate goal?
I want to get rich and die poor. The idea is I would love to sort of, get to be, in a strong position financially, but by the end of life have, given it away.
Coca-Cola come to you knocking on the door and saying, guys, we want to buy you out. Is that a conversation that you will have?
Don't know, actually.
20 million each? 50 million?
Keep going, mate.
100 each?
What price do you put on it? I don't know is the short answer.
You take a £100 million cheque for your share now?
Well, you've just gone from 20 to 50 to 120 seconds, so I'm going to hold that a little bit further.
100 million for your share in Innocent. Cash. In the back of the Maybach.
I'd have to speak to my wife.
Unsurprisingly, it was an indecisive response from Richard, but I felt I'd come as close as possible to him admitting he's in it for the money, even if he'll eventually give it all away. Spending time with Michelle Mone was both enjoyable and intriguing. Under her tough exterior, I found someone who is quite fragile, not a trait you'd openly associate with being an entrepreneur. But like many of us, it's that self-doubt that drives her.
I'm now happy with what I've achieved. I do my best, and if you can't do your best, and there's no point.
Richard Reid was a tough nut to crack, but now I understand why he's such a success. He has very cleverly created a product that harnesses his values.
My business ethos is do something you love with people that you love, do it in a way that you can be proud of, genuinely try and make something better.
These are just two inspiring ways to make millions. Every entrepreneur has their own eclectic mix of hard work, luck, skill, and self-belief. And there's one thing for sure, we don't readily take no for an answer.
Your job as the entrepreneur is to hear the no and turn it into a yes.
I don't just accept no. I always say why? If I don't take risks every single day, life becomes boring.
Will Italy become the next victim of Europe's debt crisis? Newsnight on BBC Two at 10:30 after Comedy with Ramsey Nesbitt next.